Hello, and welcome to Stop It, Let's Team Up. I'm Ross Aiken, and I'm here to talk about another Brave and the Bold issue. This time it's issue 71 from featuring Batman and the Green Arrow. And this is because I've been reading the Golden Age Green Arrow. If you follow me on social media, I've been reading that slowly. And I've been surprised by how much I really, really enjoy it. I mean, I like Golden Age comics, but they're inconsistent. Some ways, and it's they're sometimes rushed, it seems, and I've talked about this, and it's I know people who grew up on Bronze Age who didn't really get the Silver Age or Modern Age. You just don't. They're different. Every year is different, and Golden Age, sometimes I feel the art is rushed, and sometimes the stories are overly simplistic. But they're writing for 6-year-olds, and I get it. 6-8-year-olds, I get it. But the Green Arrow just comes out of the gate running. They're simple Golden Age stories, and they're wonderfully drawn by George Papp, who I have talked about when I cover Legion, because he did a fair bit of Legion and some Superboy, and it's really good. And I liked it. And reading the Green Arrow is actually a little bit better, a little more solid. But he created that, and he created Green Arrow, he created Speedy, he created Congo Bill, and he co-created the Phantom Zone, General Zod, a lot of stuff. He had a good 10-year career with DC. But it made me want to talk about George, and I'm going to be recording later with Ron of Fantastic Comic Fan about George the artist, George Papp the artist. But I want to talk. I just searched him in the app, and a Batman Green Arrow team up early in the Brave and the Bold team up era. It's perfect. It's Bob Haney, and art by George Papp. But his name's he signs it on the splash page, which is nice, which isn't always the case. But let's get started. This is the Brave and the Bold number 71. Its cover date is April/May 1967. Oh, this is 1967. Cool. Sale date February 16th, 1967. At this time, this book is bi-monthly. It was 12 cents. There's 32 pages. The editor is George Kasdan. This is pre-Murray. Oh, okay. The title of the story is The Wrath of the Thunderbird. It's 24 pages. Features Batman and Green Arrow. Written by Bob Haney and artist George Papp. It's been reprinted twice. Brave and the Bold presents Green Arrow. One Showcase presents Green Arrow Volume 1, trade paperback 2006. And Showcase presents the Brave and the Bold Batman Team Up Volume 1, 2007. Wow, I got reprinted 2 years in a row. Batman last appeared in Detective 361 and will next appear in Detective 362. Green Arrow's last appearance was in Justice League 50, and his next is going to be in Justice League 53. So his solo title is ended by this point. His 2 solo titles, because he was in More Fun. At one point, he was in 3 comics. More Fun, Leading, and World's Finest. But Green Arrow is one of those characters like Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. They never stopped having their stories. Aquaman and Green Arrow were not... Their books weren't canceled until the Silver Age. And well into it. Almost to the modern age. I mean, I think DC has a worse track record with solo titles for non-big 3, non-big 5. I think anyone other than Flash, Green Lantern, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, they won't have long runs. Green Arrow has had a long run, but not all of them do. And I've never really understood it. Maybe I'll get Kirby on and we'll try to figure it out with our, or just gab about it. But let's keep going. The villain is Tom Tallwolf, JJJ, promoter. I love, God, that's so awful. It's J. Then Jay, and then his last name is Jye. Yeah, he's a funny looking character. Cheeks, the promoter's henchman. Yes, he looks like Peter Lorre. And the Thunderbird, which is this creature. The other character in this is John Whitebeard. He is the good Indian, and Tall Wolf is the bad Indian. I don't know. It's this. We'll talk about cultural appropriations a little bit in this or that thing. So here is a synopsis from Mike's Amazing World. Batman befriends John Whitebird, candidate for leadership of his tribe. John's rival is Tom Tallwolf, a ruthless businessman. Tallwolf conspires with J, also known as the Promoter, to fix the contest that will determine leadership. Batman and Green Arrow begin training Whitebird in various skills, including archery. When the contest begins, the training pays off as Whitebird is able to win 2 events. However, in the final archery event, the Promoter is able to influence the results, so Tallwolf wins. After Tallwolf is awarded the tribal leadership, Batman and Green Arrow discover the reason for Whitebird's loss. They also learn that the Promoter he forced Tallbird to reveal the tribal secret of the Thunderbird. The Thunderbird then attacks Tallwolf and the Promoter, forcing the heroes to save them. After the battle, Tallwolf has a change of heart and turns himself in. Whitebird is then appointed tribal leader. This is a very... Because the last team-up I did was the first Brave and Bold team-up with Martian Manhunter and Green Arrow. So I got lucky and I got more Green Arrow. Because Green Arrow, before Jack Knight came along, it was my favorite character. It was Hawkeye, and that I wanted to be the guy with bows. And I've never shot a bow and arrow. So think about it. Hawkeye, Green Arrow, I like those guys. But it is, and it's not as zany as it gets. First I want to talk about the cover. It's got the Thunderbird holding Batman and Green Arrow shooting an arrow that wraps around him, and his suit's all tore up. I'm not seeing who did this cover, but it's a nice cover. So I had to jump off and look that up because I wasn't looking. Mike's did have who did the cover. It's a Chuck Cudera, Carmine Infantino, and Ira Schaub. And it's a good cover. I really liked it. So let's move on into the story. It's got a great splash page in it, which is, again, like an inner cover, which has Batman, Green Arrow, and John Whitebird. And John's driving. And you see the Promoter and Tallwolf falling, trying to grab an arrow with a parachute on it. That'll become when we're talking about the comic. I'll talk about this because I love the Green Arrow gauges. But it's just a kind of heads up, and it has like they do these introductory captions and then the title. He's back, the swashbuckling bowman who sets the comics world aquiver with excitement you all aim to enjoy. The original ace archer of them all, Green Arrow. So here, without further ado, written with the bowstring taut, tension drawn, dead-eye accuracy, is the adventure that hits the brave and the bold's bullseye. Again, as G.A. joins forces with Batman to combat the wrath of the Thunderbird. It's almost like Batman his name is first, and Green Arrow second. But this really feels like, that blurb makes you think that this is a Green Arrow-centric story. It is not. It's about 60-40 Batman. And they eventually realize that Batman's going to be the star of the book, but this is where and it's got George's signature. And we go to page 2, it just jumps right in. There's, you see that these two trucks run into each other in this overpass. One falls into the water, but the driver is stuck on a pylon, and Batman realizes it's Tom Tallwolf, and they don't like each other. He thinks Tallwolf is crooked, and they just don't like him. He doesn't like him. He's a bad businessman, where Wayne is a good guy. And then he goes over and talks to his good friend John Whitebeard, and so Batman has friends. It's very much that Silver Age thing. This is pre-Denny and Neil. So both of these characters, Talltree and Whitebird, are successful businessmen, and Native Americans. I keep wanting to say Indian because it's what it's called in the comic. But they're successful businessmen, and they're both gonna, compete for the new tribe, to be the new leader of the tribe and of their people. And I want to talk about the cultural stuff first. So, both men, they don't talk in broken English, which, I just read. I read the origin of Speedy and Green Arrow, the first origin of him about 3 weeks ago, and there's an Indian character, and he is named Kowak, I think. I'm not remembering the spelling properly, but he talks in broken English. But these guys they're just businessmen. They just happen to be Native Americans. So for that part, I like it. They are colored a little red, but it's not. It's more just to differentiate the really pale Bat from Batman. At times, it is shocking a bit, as you see John Whitebeard training with Batman. But that's a little bit. But they're just businessmen, and then all of a sudden, this whole challenge, it's all these skills. The challenges they're going to go through are skills from when their people would have lived on the plains or in their culture's original setting, where they lived, how they worked, were they hunter-gatherers? Did they, every Indian nation had its own set of rituals. And the ones they're going to do are all based on their original culture, not the culture they live in now. Because Whitebird and Tall Wolf have acclimated to, or live in both worlds. I want to say it more so. Live in both worlds. So, but John, he's a businessman. He's not, a professional athlete. So Batman trains, and it's a nice training montage. It takes up a big chunk of the middle chapter. And then Green Arrow comes in and helps with the bows and arrows. And then we see the plot to rig it. So it becomes such a big deal in the second chapter, The Wrath of the Thunderbird Part 2, that they've sold out Gotham Stadium for this trial of skills. And what I like is they show all the different ones, and they don't just show all of a sudden the guy trained by Batman and Green Arrow just wins everything, and it's la la la, or that everything is cheated on. It's an even event. It's an even match. So there's actually some suspense, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it worked really well. I liked that they did it. Everything was really good and very exciting. And the panel, I like his panel layouts. Paps in this, they're not traditional. Like, panels are bent and crooked to show kind of more the flow of the action, and I really liked it, especially on pages 11, 12, and 13. Wonderful page layouts. Use your panels, mess them around, and he has a pattern to them, but it's great. But you find out that when he's shooting at the air, the target's being moved by the promoter's lackey using a remote control. So Batman and Green Arrow think it may be Gus to win, but it's Whitebird can't hit anything. So he loses, and Tall Wolf gets in charge, and that's that. But they're a little suspicious, these three gentlemen. So Green Arrow shoots a bug on a arrow with a suction cup to a window where the bad guys are all discussing their evil plans, and that's when they go looking for them, because they're going to head. They know they're going to the Thunderbird, and Whitebird, he takes them to it, and the ritual has, and this giant vulture comes out, and then we go to part 3, which is basically the promoter and Tall Wolf are a little, struck when, wait a minute, we brought the bird here, the giant Thunderbird here, and it's going to attack them, yeah. So it's going after them in a helicopter, while Batman, Green Arrow, and Mr. Whitebird are following in the Jeep. The Thunderbird rips off the tail of the helicopter, and the two people in it fall. And then Green Arrow shoots 2 arrows into the air, which a parachute pops out of the middle of it, and these two guys grab onto the arrow and are lowered to the ground. It is a very, very funny specialty arrow. And then Batman hits the Thunderbird with a boomerang, and Green Arrow with a gas and a bolo. It's the bolo third, yeah, and then a bolo around its legs. But they keep going, and again, it's like 3 or 4 pages of action. There's a crash, and the panel layouts are great. They are great, and it has a nice ending where Tall Wolf realizes he was wrong and that the new leader should be Whitebeard. It's a very Silver Age comic. But I thought it's Bob Haney. It was actually, I really liked it. I was really surprised how much I liked it. Because sometimes these are up and down. But this one wasn't. It really was well done. I don't know who. It's Papp inked himself, I guess, because there's no credit. So we don't know. I think it is, because it looks like his art. But it was a lot of fun. It was neat to see the creator of Green Arrow doing this. I never realized that. I've never read this one. This is the first time I've ever read it. So I haven't seen this one. So it was really cool to see him working on that. And I do like his art. I do. I've always liked George Papp's art. But this is a solid one. It's worth reading. It's on the app, which is nice, because they don't have all of the Silver Age stuff, but it's on the app. It's nice. I read it there. But it's a solid Silver Age team up. I think these are ones that are always worth reading. If you're using the app is good, especially if you have the Ultra. It's really good, and you can get a lot of stuff. Read it. I think it's good to read these characters closer to their origin in some ways. At this point, Green Arrow is over 20 years old. But it's neat to read these early ones, and the early Haney, because they you can tell when things start changing. When Denny and Neil change Batman, it kind of has a trickle down effect. But this one I thought was a little more. It's a long one. It's a 20-some page single story, but it is the way it is structured into the 3 chapters. And that the bad guys have bad guy personalities, but Tall Wolf and Whitebeard, it's not blah ha ha evil. It's just he wants to win. Tall Wolf is an ambitious man. I don't think he's meant to be a criminal, and I don't think he's a criminal in this. It's just Batman doesn't like him because he has thugs who work for him or whatever it is. I think it's a really well done comic. I'll just keep going back to that, I think. But it's worth a read. It's got action. I kind of figured, I liked how they kind of built a character around both Tall Wolf and Whitebeard. I thought it would, they're cartoony, but it could have gone so wrong, and it doesn't. And it's still a neat adventure. The Green Arrow trick arrows are fun. I think at the end of the book, he gets a lot more to do, and I like that, because I'm a Green Arrow guy, so it was fun. I hope you enjoyed this episode. What am I going to recommend right now? Well, I've got my Tomb of Dracula Omnibus Volume 1 in, and I'm reading that. So if you have access to the app, Tomb of Dracula, the run is in the Marvel app. I've read the first 6 issues. Read the first 9. So I've got into Marv Wolfman, but it's worth it. It's Marv Wolfman, Gene Colan, Tom Palmer for the most part, and I look forward to reading through it. All right, folks, as always, be safe, be smart, please be kind to one another, and read some comics. Read some Brave and the Bold.